and we can get started. All right, so welcome to the demo of Recruitee. A very quick intro. Recruitee is an ATS laser focused on collaborative approach. That's why we want to give you more flexibility and unlimited access. So you can engage all your team members, not just recruiters, but also hiring managers and maybe any other employees that would participate in the selection process, take part in the interviews, etc. It is a cloud-based solution. All the data is stored within a cloud within the European Union, safe and secure, and with the latest ISO certification and also with GDPR compliance. So if you'd like to build in your own GDPR policy and ensure that this is met, you will be able to configure it within Recruitee as well. This is a web view, of course. We also have a mobile app, so every user can download the mobile version and perform all the recruitment tasks on the go. Also, everyone will be in charge of their own personal account when they will be able to synchronize their calendar and their work mailbox with the Recruitee platform as well, to have all the communication related to recruitment available from one place, right? And also all this, and on top of this, they will be able to set up personal notifications configuration, which can also be passed on to the mobile. So there's different channels of being communicated about any upcoming tasks or any changes made in the platform, any new candidates, etc. This can be done via web app, via mobile app, also via email. And if you use communicators like, for example, Slack, it's also possible to integrate them with Recruitee and then share important updates with, for example, Slack channel. This way, everyone is up to date, right? Nobody misses any important announcement tasks. Okay, this dashboard is the most complex version you'll see because this is the administrator's view. So super users will have access to all the modules and all the data. Here on the left-hand side, you can see all the modules of Recruitee. And then on top, you see some stats like the global database number of total number of candidates, total number of currently open jobs, and currently open talent pools. Of course, if a user with restricted access logs in, maybe hiring manager, they will only see relevant data, right? So only their jobs, their candidates, and the modules that they have access to. So it might be much simpler view in the end. Just briefly walking through the dashboard, here you can see that overview of the latest stats, and you can easily jump to the latest candidates or jobs that you were busy with last time you logged in. You'll also have a glance at your calendar and your team's calendar, which, as I mentioned, can be synchronized with the work calendars. So you see real-time availability, all the upcoming interviews, events, evaluations, tasks, and also all the activity. As an admin, you can always find all the changes that were made in the system. So we have a proper audit trail in place. Let's jump to the very left-hand side where we've got main modules of Recruitee. So dashboard, global candidates database, requisitions, jobs, mailbox, reports, talent pools acquisition, plus a few more options like marketplace for integrations with other tech stack, referrals hub to manage the referrals made by the employees, and then careers hub if you would be interested in building a career site that can be fully customized with your employer brand and that can be used to advertise all the open positions. And last but not least, you'll see we've added something new here at the bottom. So these are our partners from our talent suite. So from now on, it will be also easy to navigate from one account to the other if you happen to work with our recruitment, but also with our core HR Kiwi and our performance management Javelot. All right. Back to our main modules. I'd like to start with the core of Recruitee or core of ATS overall, which is, of course, jobs. This is where recruiters would spend most of their time working on the current projects. Here you can see a list of currently open positions. You can already see how many candidates we've got, how many new have applied in the meantime, etc. And I'm going to use that first job, the digital UX designer, as example. When you open the job, first thing you will see is that visual pipeline with all the stages of your process. This is just an example again, so you can customize this process fully. Every workflow can be unique and tailored to your needs. In this case, we have the applied section where all the new applications will land. Also, when you add new candidates, source them or headhunt them, they will also appear in the applied section. And then we've got a couple of interviews all the way to the offer stage. We also have a reference check and then hired when the candidate gets hired eventually. For each stage, it's possible to set up automations, and these lightning bolts show that there are some actions already triggered when you move candidate to this stage. So if we look at the first interview, you can see that there will be an email sent to the candidate moved to the first interview, already personalized with placeholders, so it's all personalized communication. At the same time, the interviewer will get the evaluation request and a task to contact this candidate prior to the interview. So that's an example of how you can automate your steps in the process. But how do we even get here, right? How do we get the pipeline filled with candidates? We, of course, first have to build the job, and we have to advertise it, spread the word to get some visibility and to get interested people to apply. How to achieve it? You would need to perform a couple of steps to first build the job and then send it out to public. One of the very first steps is, of course, creating the actual job advertisement. So at this stage, you can already assign a dedicated recruiter and hiring manager if you'd like. And that means they will also be notified and they will be following this process from now on. And of course, you'll have to create the job description and requirements, which is needed by majority of the job boards. For this section, we have recently released an AI functionality. That means you can create the job specs within seconds, literally just provided instructions like here, what you would expect in this job. And then when you hit create, you'll see that the tool will start generating this advertisement for you. And you can always improve it. You can change the tone. You can just start over and find a better description if you prefer. So it's a nice time saver for when you need to quickly create and advertise the job. You can use our AI functionality for this. And same applies for the job requirements. Again, you've got the create with AI option. All right, the next step would be the application form. So this is where you can start your screening process by creating a set of questions that candidate will have to answer when they click apply. And here I've listed just a couple of examples that are really useful. First one is the video answer. That means you can already have, a video interview recorded before you even invite a candidate in. You can test their language knowledge, for example, right? Or just ask to present themselves in a couple of minutes. Maybe for customer-facing role, also a very nice option to test the ability of the candidate. A second question is a very interesting one. It is a knockout question. That means you can already set up rules for the basic criteria that have to be met, right? And if candidate answers otherwise, for example, if they are not eligible to work in the EU, the system would automatically disqualify them. And this automatic disqualification can also trigger actions like moving candidates in the pipeline. For example, there can be an email with relevant feedback already attached from your templates library and automatically sent for, let's say, 2 days later, also for a better candidate experience. Of course, we don't want to trigger these actions immediately. That means Recruitee can already do the pre-screening for you without you having to scan through every single CV in case you receive a lot of irrelevant applicants for specific roles. So we highly recommend working with the knockout questions. And then there is another question, a salary expectation question that is marked as optional, but of course you can make your questions optional or mandatory. But it's also highlighted in yellow. That means that the visibility of this answer will be limited within the platform. And only, for example, recruiters and hiring managers will see it. Other employees will not have access to this info. That will ensure, of course, more unbiased hiring process. Let me pause here for a sec. Any questions so far? And do you think that these type of questions could be helpful in the processes?
Yes, of course. Yeah. No
Great.
questions at the moment.
Okay. Awesome, thank you. Of course, you can customize other steps, like whether you require a CV or a cover letter, phone or photo, right? You can enable all these options. And you can also allow for application with LinkedIn, Sync, Indeed. LinkedIn would require LinkedIn Recruiter license though, so just to inform you upfront. If a company has got a LinkedIn Recruiter, they can enable this and then candidates can apply quickly with their LinkedIn profile. Also, we can enable the social media share for the candidates when they are on the career site. And then if you want to make a job remote, you can hide the job location and it's going to display as remote. All right, next step is defining the actual workflow. And here we've got the active process section. That's what I showed just now in the pipeline. So you can see all the stages of the process. First interview, online interview, all the way to the hired stage. And you will be able to add your own stages at any point of time and add your own automations like sending automated email, internal note, task tags, evaluations, etc. So there's many steps that you can already attach and automate when you put candidate into this particular stage. You can always have a default pipeline setup or pipeline templates created. And then when you create a new role, just go inside and tweak it to your needs, of course, if there's some unique parts of the process. All right. And also at this stage, we can define auto confirmation response. So that first email that the candidate would receive when they hit apply and complete the application form. So this is just an example. You can see there's placeholders. So again, it's personalized response. You can already attach some links. In this case, they request for an assessment already done at that initial stage after the application. And yes, this will mean that candidate will always get that update whenever they apply that their application was received successfully. The next step of generation of the job is assigning team members. So you can decide who will be working with the job. You can just click add team member and then select from your list. So they will have access to this process. And then we are basically ready to publish the jobs to start working, advertising and getting the candidates in. So one of the strong channels is, of course, social media, popular nowadays with, high outreach as well. Therefore, we've added that social sharing section where you can, again, tailor the look of your job ad more to suit the social media viewers, right? So maybe a more brief, shorter description, a title, and a dedicated sharing image, maybe logo of the company or something related to the job. So this can be done on a job level. And before I start showing how to share the job, I'd like to also mention the referrals section as well. So every job can be enabled for referrals if you have referrals program within the company. So your colleagues can refer candidates. For every job, you can then assign a particular reward and also add some custom questions that you would like to ask from the employee, like how do you know each other or why are you referring? And I'll show in minutes how this looks from the employee perspective, of course. So there we are. This is the created job. Now we can start publishing it. Since I showed the sharing option, the sharing section already, I'd like to quickly show how you can share the job to your own network. So here via share button, you can use those quick buttons for Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Additionally, you can share a job link or a job inbox with anyone interested, maybe with your external partners, etc. Whoever uses either of these options, they will always be automatically converted to candidates. Their CVs will be parsed into the candidate profiles, and they will land here in the pipeline in the applied section. That's one of the options, one of the channels, of course. Then we've got a section called job boards, and that's the very strong one as well with the popular international job boards. These options are natively connected with Recruitee, therefore you can use them at no additional cost, regardless of, for example, the LinkedIn license that you might have. So you can publish your job to any of these channels for free. So Google, Indeed, LinkedIn, Jubel, Adzuna, and then many more. Monster also quite popular. Always worth testing out and seeing what is the traffic, what is the results. Maybe you can get some interesting talent from those sources. That is the second part. Third one is our premium job boards or paid job boards, paid campaigns where you are maybe targeting specific audience and you'll have to promote the job elsewhere to make sure that you get the right views. Here we've got acquisition channels and we offer sponsored campaigns. That means you can use Recruitee as a broker to buy, for example, I don't know, sponsored recruitment ad on LinkedIn, additionally on Reddit, etc. And you can just, purchase these campaigns directly. Recruitee would send them or post them on your behalf within those paid channels. The next option is the referrals part. So of course, references are really strong nowadays. I think many companies go in these directions because it proves to get very high quality talent. So let me show you how this looks. If I click on Referrals Hub, I will open the referrals portal that's visible to your employees. So they don't need access to Recruitee, by the way. This is a separate portal. You can invite them, and through the link, they'll be able to open their own account and apply or provide candidates for particular roles. So as you might recall, digital UX designer had an Amazon voucher, and I will make a referral in this job. So in this moment, I'll have to provide the candidate details. These are the referral questions that you can create on a job level I showed just now. So how do you know each other? Already with some pre-selected answers. So we work directly together. Why are you referring them? I think this is a great fit. They've got a proven record, etc. Here you can view the reward. And once all the details are added, just click Submit Referral. And then every employee can track their referrals. So again, a very nice way of engaging the employees and also reducing the number of claims that recruiters often get. Where is my referral? What's happening? What is the status, right? This can be checked by themselves here. So you can see all the referrals currently in progress, the ones that have been completed and the ones that have been successful, right? Employee can always come in and check. Plus, you can build this little tutorial page, how it works for everyone. So whenever someone joins, they can learn quickly how to use this tool. All right, so that's another channel. And then, of course, we've got a career site. So you can build custom career site, and maybe I can show you probably a very familiar example of our customer that built their page with Recruitee. Just quickly. It's not actually taking me to the page. Give me a sec. Probably through McLaren. There we go. So McLaren Racing is a customer of Recruitee. And they've built this page without needing any coding or IT experience. This is a codeless tool, a Recruitee career site builder, that also allows you to build multiple pages, and actually the company used it to introduce their separate divisions on a separate page. So whether I am on the main McLaren racing career site or I am on a Formula One career site, this is all coming from one single place. I just see that there's some language adjusted. Interesting. Oh no, this is just the last name that's really complicated. All right, so example of the career site of McLaren. High performance starts with you, already taking to the open positions. And then there's some more content introducing the company in short, introducing their values, why McLaren Racing. These are different sections that you can easily build into your career site. A nice video content as well with 24 hours in the MTC. Test your talent with the world watching. 5 teams, 1 shared ambition. And here you can go straight to the career site of those teams separately. So as I mentioned, there are multiple pages available. And right down below, we've got all open positions where you can easily also use filters or go to specific division and find interesting job there, or just use a search box. So let's maybe take a look at the manager of the communications for IndyCar. Again, job page fed from Recruitee. Again, you can see that it's fully custom. There is McLaren Racing logo. There's also no Recruitee domain in the address, right? Everything is styled to match McLaren's theme. And here we are, the job description. That's exactly what you've built earlier in Recruitee. We probably have a lot of details, job requirements. I'm sure there is a lot of people that would like to apply for a job at McLaren. And then we've got the bottom section with apply with Indeed, or also the option where a candidate can share the job with their own network as well easily. Again, McLaren branding, no trace of Recruitee. And if I click apply, I'll be taken to the application form of McLaren for this particular job. So candidate will have to upload their CV, provide their contact details, name, of course, optional photo, optional cover letter. And then we go into the questions section. I see that McLaren has added some terms or some probably statements that they will have to agree to at the end. In this case, a candidate will have to provide, or it's actually optional to provide the gender, the race, current salary, required salary, current company, current notice period, availability. Are you authorized within the US? That's probably a knockout question, by the way. So if the third option is selected, they would get rejected automatically. Current country, there's also some information about the veteran status. Actually, quite a long process, right? Quite a lengthy application form. But again, like I said, there's probably a high number of applications, so they need to make sure they ask the right questions right at the start. There is an optional video introduction as well, so a candidate can record a short presentation of themselves and then click send once everything is complete. And that's the full process, fully branded, again, customizable. And when candidate applies, they will land in that first column of the job, of course, relevant job of McLaren. So this is how we get the people into the pipeline through those different channels. But of course, you can also headhunt candidates. And here you've got options to add them manually via mailbox, which would convert the CV into the candidate profile, but also manual CV upload. It can be uploaded one by one or through a whole folder. And that will be a bulk upload within seconds, again, converting those CVs into candidates, but also completely manually adding a profile or importing from Excel or using a Chrome extension. So quite a lot of options to get the candidates in. And that's where we start working with the candidates in the pipeline. That's where we can review them. That's when we can progress them in the stages, right? And invite for an interview, maybe send them another round of questions, communicate with the team internally in the meantime as well. And I'd like to show you how you can work with this whole candidate pool digital UX designer, but in a different format. So here, of course, we can drag and drop candidates and all the magic will happen. But on top of that, we can just go to the filters section and get a table view of all candidates where we can filter or search using the keyword search, using Boolean search, and find the best matches. So as this is a technical database, I'm going to apply a couple of keywords and find the best skill sets. So Java and SQL. Let's take a look. From 30 plus candidates, we've got only 4 candidates that actually match this criteria. And it's important for me to get this out. So I can select all of these candidates and then I can move them in stages in bulk, but I can also send them a bulk email. Of course, using the templates, I can invite them to an interview. There would be 4 separate emails sent, again, with placeholders personalized, and I can schedule it to send later, so maybe tomorrow morning. This way, every one of them would get an invitation tomorrow morning. All right, these are just examples. Of course, you can do other bulk actions. You can disqualify candidates in bulk. So if you select people that don't match the criteria, right, you can disqualify all of them in one go. You can also assign interesting talent maybe to talent pools for the future. So especially when you proceed with your pipeline, you already have a bunch of great talents in the final stages and you know you've already filled the position, you can select all of them and assign in one go to a specific talent pool so you can review them when the new opportunity arises.
Just a quick question about the disqualifying the candidates. Will that automatically send them an email or would you need to send them an email as well?
Very good question to build this process. We've got disqualify reasons that you can create and you can have automated emails, automated actions triggered when you disqualify a person with this particular reason. So if you disqualify someone for the lack of knowledge, let's take a look at what's going to happen. There will be an email with relevant feedback, again, personalized, and it will be sent 2 days later. So it's a great candidate experience. They get proper update, right, with the relevant feedback and also in the right time. That means you can automate the disqualification process as well. You won't have to send out manual emails. Of course, you always can, but we aim at streamlining these processes as much as possible. Okay, so I've shown you just now the options for searching, filtering through candidates. And I'd like to mention that on the global database, of course, you can do the same. So this is my global base of almost 4,000 candidates. And if I'm opening a new position, I can always look for the same skills right here. Maybe I'll add another condition. Let's see if we have Spanish speakers that know these languages. So from 4,000 candidates, we are down to 71. That means you can, again, work in bulk, select the candidates, and then maybe assign them to a new position or to a talent pool, requalify, disqualify, extend their GDPR retention, or even delete candidates in bulk. So there's a lot of things you can do at scale. And then just quickly onto the candidate profile. Thomas Smith, one of the examples. I'd like to show you how you can work with the candidate and with your team on the candidate level as well. So of course, those previous steps were working at scale with a whole pool, with a whole list of new candidates, for example. Here we are on a candidate level where we can see a candidate profile. You can work with tags, so tag them in any way for any purpose. These tags are really flexible because you can use them in filters, in searches, and also in reports later on. So they're quite powerful. All the contact details are parsed from the candidate CV. Here we can see the answers to the application form as well. If the video answer was there, it would be shown here for review. We also have some profile fields, some of them fed automatically from the CV, like the language skills or skills, for example. This person actually also submitted the cover letter, and then their CV is visible here. So you can always download, print out the CV if need be. But also that CV is translated to this visual experience bars. So you can see number of work experience in years, sorry. And then chronologically all the companies that this person worked at, plus they're listed here below. So it's nice for screening as well. You can really speed up this process. Coming back to the top of the profile, we've got message section where we can exchange all the messages, and all the automated messages are also stored here. You can see by that lightning bolt that it's an automated one. So you've got the entire history of the communication with candidate. You can always send a new email completely manually or using our email templates, for example. Here we've got an evaluation section where you can evaluate your candidate, and all the interviewers can also provide their feedback during the interview. This can be done as a quick evaluation, just providing some feedback and marking them thumbs up, thumbs down. Or you can build scorecards with some questions, proper evaluation forms, feedback forms that can be completed during the interview. And based on all these evaluations, there will be an evaluation, average evaluation score calculated. And that can be used when you sort through your candidates in the job. All right, there's also a section for files. So any additional files can be stored on this candidate record. And again, as an admin, you see all the activities. So you can check all the details, all the changes that were made on this candidate profile. Here on the right-hand side, we've got an option to schedule the interview with a candidate, and you can schedule it with your colleagues as well. You can check their availability by clicking Find Time. And you can also assign your video tools already. So if you do Zoom interviews, right, or Teams, you can just integrate them easily. But there's also a way to speed up this process and automate it. I'll show you just now. But before that, I'd like to quickly take you to the internal communication section. First of all, there is room for tasks to be created with a due date assigned to yourself or to your other teammates, so they get those tasks on their dashboard as well. And then there is notes section, and I'll scroll all the way down to show the entire history. As you can see, there's a lot of yellow messages. So again, there are private conversations with restricted visibility, like the salary discussion again. With @, we can mention our colleague and they will get a notification again. So there is a whole thread chronologically always available, and you can always see the history of the candidate and what were the previous opinions of your team. All right. Let me pause here. Any questions around the candidate profile, working with the candidate itself?
No.
Themselves? Okay. Of course, I can always disqualify candidate manually here. And when you click disqualify, this is where you would select that disqualify reason, and it can trigger an email. Or you can move candidate to the next stage. In this case, next stage is actually hired, so we can mark them as hired and finish that recruitment. All right, then let me jump to that other automation that's really important, really good time saver, which is our event scheduler. It helps you completely take off the burden of coordinating the interviews of your shoulders. And candidate basically would be in charge of booking the time. It works slightly like Calendly. I'll show you how just now. You can create multiple links, unlimited number of links, maybe per user, per stage, per type of interview or job, either way. Here is an example of an HR interview, and you'll see that there are actually two people involved. So there's Barry and there's Thijs. So there will be two interviewers present, and that means that link will look at both calendars and find the mutual availability. Again, you can already attach your video tools or Zoom, Meet, Teams, etc. And also on top of the real-time availability, you can restrict your agenda further. So in case of Barry, he's only interviewing from Monday to Wednesday, Thursdays and Fridays are switched off. And on Tuesday, there are specific time slots as well. So from 9 to 12 and from 4 to 5. That means this will also be included in that availability. And how this looks from the candidate perspective, you will get a link, of course, in an automated email when we move candidates to this stage. And when they click on the link, all they have to do is pick a day. You can see only Monday to Wednesday visible because Barry doesn't interview on Thursdays, Fridays. Pick a time and click confirm, and that's all. So just 3 clicks, very quick process for the candidate. In an instance, this is booked in the calendar. Candidate receives an email with a confirmation, also with a Zoom link or Teams link, you know, with all the details they need for the interview. And all the interviewers get that in their mailbox and in their calendar as well, including those Zoom links. And if need be, you can also already assign the evaluation templates, so they would get that evaluation form attached to this interview as well. And they get a full interview pack for whenever they're ready. All right. Any questions, or should we move forward to the next one?
No questions. Can move forward. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's move to our analytics part. So, of course, as you work with your database, it will accumulate. There will be new projects open. You want to be able to analyze this data, right? To be in better control, to spot the bottlenecks of the process, right? Or find the good trends, etc. And Recruitee allows you that with, first of all, our pre-built library that analyzes all these categories. So the jobs, the candidates, the pipelines, disqualifications, hires, interviews, evaluations, even career site analytics. So all these here are predefined libraries. And on top of that, you can create your own boards. And these are those custom dashboards actually with your own sets of reports. They're all real-time reports. So if you see, the data always refreshes quickly and collects the latest numbers. Those standard dashboards can always be filtered further. You can always do a quick filter, maybe look for specific job or specific recruiters' data, etc. And you can also change the time frame. Of course, standard things like time to hire, time to disqualify, speed of the pipeline, sources of the candidates, right? Disqualification, for example, I personally like these reports a lot. You can find where your candidates drop off the most, in which stage, what are the main disqualify reasons, why do we disqualify or why do they drop off the most? And what are the sources that are disqualified the most often? So we can see that Indeed channel is maybe not the best quality channel as it creates the highest number of disqualification, right? But let's go to the other section with the custom board, because I've created some codes here. And just to show the success of the referrals hubs where you refer candidates, right? I've created some metrics to see how my referrals are doing. And I can see the number of hired employees through the referrals portal. I can see referrals coming in over time. I can see also my offer acceptance rate. And then the first reports, where are my referred candidates at this point? So I can see that it's doing quite well. The acceptance rate is extremely high. It's definitely a good channel to use in the future. Or dashboard like team performance, where we can see time to hire per recruiter, number of interviews per hiring manager, sources with which sources the recruiters work the best, right? Number of hires per recruiter, open positions. So you can really monitor their workload, right? And their success rate. And you can always add your own analytics to that just by clicking add report here on top right. When I click on it, I'll have access to my library. but also there's an easy way to just filter by a keyword, maybe, you know, time to hire, to use this as a base, not timer, but time, as a base for my new report, or just create a brand new custom report from scratch and select if it's a trend report, a breakdown, pipeline, etc. So we'll be able to maybe analyze candidates. And let's take a look at maybe candidates per recruiter or per job. Let's find it per job. I can start changing the visible aspects as well. So maybe I prefer a table or bar charts, pie charts, etc. And now we can add some date properties as well. What do we want to see? What are the date ranges? How we want to sort these candidates? What filters would we like to apply, etc. And then if we're happy with the report, we can just save them. I'm just going to cancel this one for now, and rearrange our data. So if you find some report more relevant, want to move it to the top, it's just by drag and drop. We can also change the size of the report, and we can easily export reports, the numbers to CSV and the images to PNG. So quite flexible tool, allows you to see, and you can also assign visibility. So you can have dashboards for specific audience, or even your own private dashboard to analyze your data. Okay. We're approaching the end slowly, so just a couple of things that I'll mention additionally. Our talent pools. As I said earlier, it's possible to save candidates in the talent pools, build up a strong pool for the future, and you can create multiple folders that will be dedicated, can be per skill set, per location, right, per seniority, however you want to structure it. And then you can also filter and search within the talent pool, just like you could within the job. So maybe if we can filter by a specific, I don't know, specific skills, specific profile information, or information on the CV, or again, find some skills matching. And again, we can work with candidates in bulk. So we can send them maybe a nice newsletter about the new positions that we're opening, or we can assign them to a new position, right? We can perform all these actions to just work at scale and find quickly the best skills and try to reuse your talent pool, reactivate your candidates for the new positions. All right. And then over to our marketplace, which is our place for connecting with other HR and overall tech stack for a smooth experience, of course. You'll be able to connect Recruitee with tools like assessment platforms, like HRIS solutions, like sourcing tools, digital signatures, etc. So we've got quite an extensive list of our partners, technical partners that we work with closely. And if you happen to work with them as well, you can build the connection literally in minutes, and then you can have a nice flow of information from one platform to the other.